Welcome to In-Depth. To serve and protect. We see those words emblazoned on police cruisers across the country. But there is a season of discontent in the ranks of the Evansville Police Department. Members of the Evansville FOP cast their vote of no confidence in their leader, Chief Billy Bolin. It's the first time that has ever happened, and the vote was overwhelming. On several talking points, no confidence was checked off 70 to 82% of those voting. The bulk of the EPD. Well, today, Chief Bolin joined me for this special in-depth segment for his reaction and where we go from here. Chief Bolin, were you surprised by the size of the majority of this no confidence vote?
Unfortunately, I was not.
Why is that?
I've been in this job for 8 years. Our FOP is very strong. They like to fight with police administrations. I've been on the department for over 21 years now, and every chief I've worked under has, according to the FOP, been the worst administration we've ever had. There's always conflict. And when I went through the chief school back in 2012, every new chief has to go up to the state academy to a chief school. The instructor for the law portion said, "Did I hear we have a new chief down in Evansville this year?" And I raised my hand and I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "God help you, that FOP is going to sue you and fight you over everything."
Looking back, though, at history, we could not find any instance historically that the FOP had actually undertaken a no confidence vote.
It's my understanding this is the first time that's happened here.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I've been paying attention to the national events going on around the country, and anybody can get on Google, do a quick search. This is a new trend. It's happening all around the country. Police departments all over are having them. A week before this came up, or not even a whole week, our leadership of the FOP and some of the retirees that were in on this were all together down in New Orleans at the the National FOP Convention. And within that week that they get back, they're wanting to have this vote. So it's becoming a thing of the norm around the country, and you can get on Google and find several that have happened recently here in our country.
And there were 7.7 questions on this no confidence vote, and the percentages ranged everywhere from 70% to 82%. For example, has Chief Bolin's elimination of the traditional chain of command improved performance and morale within the ranks of the EPD? 80% say no.
Well, and what I did when I came in is I tried to give power back to the lower level, the sergeants, the lieutenants, to run their areas in the department. So, for instance, in years past, before I was chief, if we had an opening in our crime prevention unit or we had an opening in the detective office, they would get to interview and talk to people, and then they would submit a list to the chief and say, "These are the 5 or 6 people we like." And then the chief would say, "This is who you get." I took that power completely away from myself. I empowered the lower level supervisors and said, "You pick your people, you handle your things in your areas." And now I'm having backlash for doing it that way. So things like that are absolutely, I'm willing to sit down and talk with them if they want us to revisit the old ways of doing business. I made these decisions thinking that it would spread the power base.
They cite that you have lowered the number of motor patrol officers down. I believe the number that they were using were down to about 110. And they're saying that that is one of the reasons why violent crime is on the increase under your watch. What do you say to that?
Well, in the press conference that you had earlier today from Jason Cullum, he addresses those numbers in detail and shares, and you're going to see that, or as you did see, a lot of those numbers are completely false, they're completely fabricated, and we can show on paper where those numbers aren't correct. Now, we are short right now in patrol as departments all over the country. And the National FOP will tell you this. The Indiana Chiefs of Police Association, which I sit on the board of directors of, will tell you this. It's a nationwide epidemic where it's not a great time to be a law enforcement officer. People aren't wanting to go into this profession. People are leaving this profession. And our officers in Evansville rightfully are looking at me and saying, "What are you doing about it?" And we're trying to figure it out. We're currently working with the FOP. Our attorney, the city's attorney for the police department, and the FOP attorney met earlier this week on ideas that we've been talking about with the FOP president. So when they say they're trying to open a dialogue, that dialogue is going. We're working together now to figure out these answers.
But some part of that dialogue, there have been some who have said that you are a master of PR and that many of the programs that you are pushing the community outreach are basically a publicity stunt.
Well,
what do you say to that?
It is publicity. I mean, we are in an era, like I just mentioned, people don't want to become police officers. People don't like police officers. They don't trust us. We need to be doing all we can to build those relationships, to reach out. And you've had me on here. You've seen me. I'm not a promote Billy Bolin. I don't throw my name out. Jason Cullum does the overwhelming majority of our stuff. I'm not running for office. I'm never going to run for sheriff. I'm not running for mayor. I've never had an interest. I'm promoting law enforcement, and I'm trying to build relationships. I don't know where that's seen as a negative thing, that I'm trying to paint the Evansville Police Department and our profession as a whole in a good light.
Well, this is out now, Chief Bolin, and the perception sometimes is reality for a lot of folks, a lot of citizens, to serve and protect. But that perception is the department, law enforcement, with the largest tri-state police force. Is that being compromised now simply because of this no confidence vote?
I don't think, and that's where you asked me at the beginning if I was surprised. I've worked under this kind of tense-filled relationship for 7.5 years. It's typically behind the scenes, under the surface. The public doesn't see it. 2.5 years ago, they were threatening to do this very thing. I'm well aware of their opinions of me. The public hasn't seen this, but you're receiving the same policing services that we have under my whole administration. That's not going to change. I'm not vindictive. I'm not out to get the guys. I'm hearing that a lot in their comments, that they're afraid and retaliation. And, you know, so there's not an example out there of me doing that.
How do you fix this then? Because
you continue to work with them. You continue to try. Yeah, I've never pulled myself off the table. We have monthly labor management meetings. I have an open door policy. The FOP president knows that he can walk in my office at any time without an appointment. I'm very open to meeting with them.
Well, Sergeant DJ Thompson, the FOP president, is scheduled to be on InDEPTH next Tuesday. The question I have for you, and I have not posed this to him yet, but I'm going to. After these independent appearances, you're going to be on tonight, obviously. We're taping this in the afternoon. It's going to air during our 9 o'clock. And he'll be on live next Tuesday night. Would you be willing to sit down with him, right where you're sitting right now?
Absolutely.
To talk about the issues facing this community?
Be more than glad to.
All right. With that being said, have you been talking to him through any of this process, or are you going to be talking to him?
We've had a little bit of communication. He disappoints me in that he wants to run to the media and do these things, and I know I was accused this week of, well, you're the first one to make this public. We had people in the news media calling us already. They had already said they were going to have this vote and go, so I just put it out on my terms. He knows that he's got an open door with me. He knows he can meet with me. He was meeting with the mayor. There is those open lines already. So,
but this has to sting a little bit, doesn't it? Does it hurt you? You've been involved in law enforcement now, what, more than 20 years?
Yes, I have. I started my career here in Henderson about 24, going on 25 years ago, and I've been in Evansville for over 21. Would this have stung 7 years ago? Yes. Today, no, because I'm used to it. This is what I've been dealing with behind the scenes. And I'm telling you, every chief I worked under had similar circumstances. Brad Hill, that was prior to me, I've apologized to him I don't know how many times since I've been in this job for criticisms I had of him, because I had been told by the FOP leadership what a horrible man he was, how bad he was. Russ Lloyd, the former mayor, I picketed the man's house. I'm friends with Russ now. But the FOP leadership had told us that was the worst administration we'd ever dealt with. It's what I've grown up in working at the Evansville Police Department. It's what I currently work with. Do I want my officers to think that of me? No, and I want to make no mistake, we have great police. There's a lot of really great officers that have a negative opinion of me, but it's because that's what their leadership in the FOP has taught them and told them. They're still doing a great job. Great people, and when I encounter them and we talk at the department, it's not adversarial. We have conversations, we laugh, we joke. I think they just feel pressured into doing this vote. Anybody that sees me out in the public with our officers, you don't see us in hate-filled rants or where we don't like each other. So it's an unfortunate dispute that's made its way into the public, but I think we got one of the best police departments in the country, and you're going to keep seeing the product that we've been putting out for the past 8 years.
FOP President Sergeant DJ Thompson will join me next Tuesday for InDEPTH Live on Eyewitness News at 9. And you can see his news conference he held today right now on our website. I contacted Sergeant Thompson after this taped interview with Chief Bolin and asked him about a joint appearance with the chief. He did not commit, but told me he would think about it. The reason I'm asking for a side-by-side appearance is to have some type of civil discourse about law enforcement's mission in Evansville. In this day and age of social media, that can be refreshing.